Alrighty. It's been a while since we've done one of these. And main reason being is there's a whole lot that I can say, there's a whole lot that I can show you, but like I said last time, a vast majority of it is just seeing it, experiencing it, and just doing and gaining that knowledge and familiarity. But one thing that I did kind of want to talk about is the 2 months, 2 year rule idea thing. There's a prevailing idea, and it's backed up by data. I don't have the data to hand, but from the last time I did research, the first 2 months and the first 2 years are the 2 most dangerous times to ride in terms of your entire life doing this. And the reason why is the first 2 months is obvious. You're still figuring out how the fuck the clutch works and the throttle and how they all talk to each other. Thanks, man. And that's, that's obvious. The 2 years, sure, you can say, well, yeah, you're inexperienced, but it's not that. The danger in your first 2 years comes from getting not overconfident, but not having a solid grasp of where the actual limits of your ability are. And I found this to be true myself. In my first 2 months, everything was super chill. I was taking everything super easy for the most part. But when I would come to, let's say, trying something more significant, trying to push a little bit, I would run into times when I didn't know why the bike rolled out of that corner, or why I didn't lose traction, or, why I wasn't on the side of the fucking road. I wasn't, but I don't know why. And that's kind of what I want to, I guess, touch on. So, when you're in your first 2-ish years, you don't really have a solid knowledge of what it feels like when you're actually at the edge of your own experience and your own knowledge and your own ability, because the bike, even a little 310 like you've got, or a little one banger like One Stroke 400 or any small beginner bike, they're far remarkably more capable than you as a new rider are going to be. So you're not going to have the usual tells of, oh, I'm feeling the front skip a little bit, the front's vibrating, oh, the rear's starting to drag out a little bit, unless you really fucking go for it. You're not going to hit the limit of what the bike is capable of. You're going to run into the limit of what you are capable of. And it's kind of hard to describe because it's different for everybody. For me specifically, and we'll just start there. For me specifically, when I get to the edge of what I'm capable of, my brain starts saying, okay, now what next? As opposed to, I know what's going to happen next. That whole thing that we talked about before of plan your route, plan what's going to happen, be confident in what you're doing. That all sort of washes away, and I'm dealing with shit as it comes. Like a yellow light I don't want to sit at. But yeah, I'm dealing with shit as it comes, as opposed to being 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds ahead of where the bike is going to be. And that for me is my first indicator that I need to roll off and chill the fuck out, because when I get to there, that's where mistakes are made. There's that whole, that idea of well, here be dragons. For me, the dragons exist when I no longer have a plan of where I'm going to be in 5 seconds. And that's how it is for me. And you'll find that comfortability, that ability to predict, that ability to confidently follow through will extend out further and further and further and further. What the fuck's going on here? It just works? Are you waving me on? Okay. What's up, guys? What was I saying? Yeah. You'll find that your ability to predict what's going to happen will extend out the more the more confident you get, the more experience you get, the more familiar you get with everything. And while that's great, where your predictions and where reality don't mesh up are real big, are like a real thing that you need to look at damn near immediately, honestly. Let's use an example. If I were to say, filter all the way to the front, but that's illegal here. If I were to filter all the way to the front and, you know, hit the throttle, drop it at, you know, 4K, and I would expect the rear tire to hook up, and I'd feather it out and, you know, bang up into second and all the rest. I could do that. But what would be my response if, say, I feather it out in first at 4K and that rear just fucking chops and I feel the traction control kick in and the throttle isn't giving me the revs because it's just trying to keep itself from fucking spinning out? What does that tell me? Well, first and foremost, it tells me I was far too aggressive on the clutch drop. It tells me I was far too aggressive on the throttle. And it also probably tells me that the surface isn't what I expected it to be. Further, I should probably not do that until I have a real good knowledge of how to actually launch the damn thing. Ask me how I know. And that's just like one present example that I can think of right now of where my expectations differ from what the reality was. And every time that happens, take a moment, take a step back, and think about where you pushed, or if you even pushed, and just, you know, there was a really great way it was put once to me. I don't remember the actual phrasing of it, but how do I blame myself first is the idea of it. How do I blame myself for what I did? You know, I can, all day, it's super easy. Oh yeah, the tires were cold, the asphalt shit, there was an oil slick, there was a bird in my left 2 o'clock that, you know, distracted me, and da-da-da-da-da. You can make excuses all fucking day. Excuses are easy. I can make a million of them right fucking now. But what was my part? What was my responsibility? Where did I fuck up? Where did I fail? Where did I make a mistake that led to that difference of expectation and reality come from? And start with that mindset whenever you run into one of those situations where what you expect isn't what happens. 90% of the time, it's just as simple as your expectations were off for the inputs that you put in. And then you choose, were the inputs the good ones, or was the intention what you're actually after, or the expectation rather? You know, and that's a case-by-case thing. You know, like trying to launch the fucking bike at a red light. Honestly, the expectation's the bad part there. My inputs could have been whatever, you know, but if I'm launching at a fucking red light in a town that's known for having red light runners, I'm the dumbass. That was just a poor choice in the first place. Straight the fuck up. You know, don't do that, kids. But another thing that I found that became easier as I gained more experience was the idea of the, and this is coming from my military history, the defense onion, as it's called back, you know, in that fucking realm. But the first layer of that onion is don't be there. I'll say that again. The first layer of keeping yourself safe is to not be there in the first place. Don't be in a situation where you're, you know, where you can possibly be in a bad spot. Now, obviously, you're on a bike, you're on the road. Some things are expected, like accepted possibilities. That's just how that is. But if we take a step a little bit past that, how do I ensure that I'm not in a spot where something bad can happen to me in the first place? What I'm doing right now, got a nice space cushion forward, to the side, and behind. I look to maintain this, you know. Next is don't get spotted, which is, you know, the other side of that is make sure that you are seen, make sure that you are visible. If you are going to be in a position where it's possible for something bad to happen to you, make sure that other drivers can fucking see you. Or if you're on the track, that, you know, you're not riding out in someone's blinded depth spot. Which I actually had to tell a guy about the other day. Because this guy, he was riding on my right rear the entire time through every corner, like right behind where I was, mashing me on everything. And I had no fucking idea that the guy was there. So I accidentally dive bombed this dude like 3 or 4 times. We get off, you know, after the session, he comes over, he's like, dude, what the fuck were you doing? I'm like, well, first off, who are you? I didn't see you on the track. Turns out dude was behind me, like, literally right the fuck there. Like, right there. And I couldn't see him, I couldn't hear him. Because, you know, you don't have mirrors when you're on the track, and he was right where my exhaust was spitting out, so I didn't hear his bike, because that's where all my noise was coming from. So yeah, make sure that you're visible. What's going on here, guys? I'm chilling in the right lane because I'm talking, but what the fuck is wrong with all of you? Let's get over. And further on down, you know, gets into, you know, don't get hit. If you do get hit, make sure it's, you know, minimize the damage as best you can. And if you are damaged, you know, do everything you can to not die, you know, etc. like that. But it's those first two, 3 pieces that, you know, which is don't be there in the first place. If you have to be there, make sure that you're visible, and you know that you are visible. And if you are in a situation where, you know, and if a situation happens, you evade and you get out of Dodge. You do your best to get away from it. Example: if this Lexus behind me were to be coming up super quick and I wasn't sure you're going to stop, fucking turn, go out, go between those cars. That's it. You know, that's 1, 2, and 3. There's more to it, but its applicability, you know, lessens and lessens as you go down the layers. How does that apply to, you know, what I was talking about, the 2 months, 2 years thing? You get better at identifying where you don't want to be, and you get better at identifying where you do want to be. You get better at identifying how to be visible, and you just get better at all that. And once you get better at all of that, you start being able to ride to the limit of what you're capable of. And that's when you start having those issues, where you start hitting the limit of your own skill. So paradoxically, well, not paradoxically, the way it sequences out is you get better at self-preservation. External self-preservation, so that your lack of skill becomes more apparent. You know, you sand down one thing, another thing shows up. Holy shit, that's a lot of cars. Man, I picked a bad time to go to the gym, even though it's the only time I've got available. What the fuck? Coming all the way, everybody? No? Sorry for getting quiet. I'm just trying to see if there's an end to this line of people. But yeah, the better you get at managing your external situations, the more your personal ability, and I guess if you want to run with the theme, your internal situation starts to become apparent. And that's where a lot of people stop, honestly, because they think, oh, I can go with the speed limit, I can sit in the center of my lane, and I can own it, and no one's gonna fuck with me because I'm following all the rules and da-da-da. No, man. you're just sitting at the limit of your ability, and you're finding excuses as to why you don't want to improve, get better, or just learn lessons in the first place. Yeah, we're clear. I do not like this position whatsoever, so we're gonna chill over on the left, I think. So we talked about the 2 years, the two months, 2 years. We talked about what it feels like when you hit the limit of your ability. We talked about why it comes about in such a way. And we talked about what to do-ish. And what I find most effective when I run into those situations, and this is wholly after the fact, I mean, if you're in a spot where you're just kind of at the limit of what you're able to do and you walk out of it alive, fuck yeah, cool. Into the lessons learned phase and into the place of like, okay, what do I do to get better? How do I, improve in that spot where the limit of my ability is what was apparent? In some situations, you can recreate it, like in a parking lot, if you can. Other situations which are more like high-speed stuff. Good example. This is some time ago, but I was rolling through what is essentially a B road, like a highway, and it was twisty, it was curvy, it was great, but I came into basically not a switchback, but almost like a chicane, where it went up a hill, down, and up a hill, and back over, and I hit that thing, and fuck, 90% of, good. I hit the first corner, it was cool, tried to set it for the second, it was happening way too quick, so I just fucking hit the front, hit the rear, and just slowed my ass all the way down, and just fucking boodled it through the rest of it. I was at the limit of my ability, straight up. No shame in saying it. I was in over my head, so I got my ass out of it. I bailed out of that corner, and I just fucking chilled for a little bit, thought about what I could do to fix it. And after a whole lot of thinking about it, I just said, okay, I'm going to go back there, take it a little bit slower, and see what about it is. And the reality is there was nothing super secret about that turn, about that day. I was just going too fast for my ability. I was just not good enough to do the speed that I was doing, to take that corner the way I was. Now, the reasons why was my body position was off, I wasn't weighting the front, I wasn't flicking correctly, I was doing like a half-ass cross load on, I was crossed up. Like, there was a whole lot of things to improve on my end before I had to worry about going faster. But the process of try it again, a little bit slower, a little bit more controlled, and see why, is usually my first go-to. Now, obviously, I can't recreate doing a $140 coming into a hard left that goes into a carousel right. Like, that's track-only experience, which is my current boogeyman. There's a corner at the speedway up here. You have a super long back straight, and on my Bimmer I'm doing probably $140, $145, right, and I hit my braking zone, and I've got a small amount of footage to brake all the way down to like fifth, and every fucking time I've got you know, the rear's kicking up. I'm, you know, just trying to keep fucking control, and I'm not even in the right body position, so I'm changing body position under braking, which is bad news. And I'm not even able to trail through that specific corner correctly, just because it's like, that corner's got my number, and it's on me to figure it the fuck out. How do I fix it? Well, next time I go to that track, I'm going to take that corner a little bit slower. I'm going to precisely hit my braking zone. I'm going to hit those brakes the way I know they should be hit, and I'm going to see, you know, and every lap I'm going to, you know, increase the speed. I'm probably going to start at about 100, then buck 10, buck 20, you know, I'm going to go in that realm. And I'm just going to increase and increase and increase and see where my, you know, and see where that is. And then I'm going to take my findings, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to think about it, and I'm probably going to go talk to one of the guys that work the track day and see what their opinion is. And that's how I'm going to improve that. That's how I'm going to work on a place where my limit of skill exists. Because the bike can do it, no fucking question. The track is good, no fucking question. I see guys blast through that thing faster than I am. So the problem is me. And that's, you know, that's kind of the core of what I'm trying to get at, which is, you know, when you hit that limit of your ability, because your ability is far below the limit of the bike and the limit of your equipment. This motherfucker, really? Some rich fuck in a Bentley thinks he's cool. He ain't. Alright, now that I got that out of my system. So yeah, the limit of ability versus the bike's ability. This bike is capable of just about what I am. If I really wanted to be a madman, I could take this on the track and me and the bike would be in parity. Just be careful that you don't get caught up in the chase. That's something that I've had happen to me a lot. You get caught up in the chase of, I could do this precise thing so much better. I can accomplish X, Y, and Z so much cleaner. Okay. But yeah, don't let yourself get caught up in the chase of the minutia. 80% of the work is done with 20% of the time. So when you get to a spot where you're good, let it ride until it becomes, you know, apparent they need to work on it again. Because you get caught up in the chase, you start neglecting other things that are usually just as, if not more important, because you're blind to them. And I'll leave you with that. I'm gonna go pick up heavy things. Have a good one.